participation. Okay, awesome. So can you hear me, right? Okay.
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
Superb. So hi, everyone. Thanks for joining in today. Hi, Konark. This is the ADP and DesignBoat group sessions. And I'm Devakinandini, a strategic experience designer and your host for the session today. In the past few sessions that we've had our mentors talk about storytelling, brushing our portfolio skills. We learned how to measure the impact of our designs and finding your niche as well. That was one of the initial sessions. And today, Konark will be talking about how we can connect all of these dots and find our individual path as a designer. He is the Director of Design Operations at Moonraft Innovation Labs. And in this session, we will also discuss a lot of do's and don'ts of UX design, the different phases of design, and how to make your mark as a designer again. So thanks for taking your time out and doing this with us, Konark. I'm super keen on unraveling the UX manual for starters. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. It's pleasant Bangalore weather, so can't complain.
Yeah, true. We have a lot of interactive session planned as well ahead. So stay tuned and we can start with the rapid fire questions and then move on to the interaction session. Okay,
sure.
Awesome. So I just have a quick 10 questions, very easy, and you can take your time and answer or keep it quick, whatever suits you. So the first question is, why are you a designer? In one sentence.
Because I like solving problems, and that's what I do. Like, even if I'm right now doing operations, I see the problems which are there in the design operations, and then I would love to solve the problems. And that's why I'm a designer, and that's what I love being a designer.
Awesome, love it.
Any challenges, any problem, just it gives me a different kick,
Yeah.
It gives me some satisfaction.
Similar to solving puzzles for those first
I love puzzles. I love puzzles. I can spend endless days playing puzzles.
Absolutely. Have you tried the recent Wordle that all of us have? Very quick.
Yes, every day in the morning. If I'm awake till 12 in the night, I just like, it's 11:55. Let me just spend 5 more minutes and, just get that next puzzle, solve it, and then go to bed.
I know, it's been very addictive, actually.
Yeah.
So the next question is, what's the hardest thing about being a designer?
Hardest thing being a designer? Law. I don't think it's actually the question is which I'm finding hard. Because there's nothing I can think is hard in design for me as of now, right? But sometimes when it all depends upon at what stage you are. And so when I was early in my career, right, it was very hard for me to deal with the rapidness of the problems and the dealing with the customer or the client, right? Or when I go for the user research, right, at that time, doing the contextual inquiry, asking the right question, because you will have a certain set of questions, right? And then there will be something which user will say, and you're like, okay, now should I go deep into this one or come back? So it's always become stages wise, and then you grow. So at different stage, different things were hard. So in an initial stage, it was hard to deal with customer, the client feedback, and and then now it's. And then when I grew up in the ladder in the organization and everything, like the scalability became a little hard. So you come to, so that's the hardest part, that you keep finding new things which is harder and harder and harder. So that's the thing which every new thing which I always find it hard.
Right.
Until I'll solve that.
Correct. Right. I'll rephrase that question for the next session. The third one is most underrated skill of a good designer. Something you feel more people should focus on, which probably the current generation is not focusing on, like the new designers.
The communication, right? Like communication, or I would say not communication, but a crisp communication. I'll talk about it in the further further down in the talk, right? But the crisp communication is something which I think it's very underrated. People like to talk everything what they've done in the project, right? Okay, I've done user experiences, but the crisp communication is something which is underrated. People don't understand. Like, people have this fear that, okay, if I'll be very crisp, they will think that I don't know. But that
Right.
actually a skill,
Right.
which you should have.
Yeah. The next one was, is there an app you're addicted to recently in terms of design?
There are so many, but if I say that, not in particular with design, but from an experience wise, okay.
Yeah, experience.
Um, I love Zerodha, okay, and it's not because it has a great design or something. Zerodha is a if people who are not from India, right, or if even people in India, they might not know, it's basically a trading platform. The thing is that the trading has been always a very complex matter, right? How many shares to show, sell, how many shares to buy, and everything. Putting in everything into that one small app, from filing an IPO till everything, managing all my statements, etc., everything on the app, and that too on a mobile app. It's challenging, and the experience is phenomenal. Anything I want, I can do it.
Okay. Right.
And they have these features and everything, which which is right on point. Like, okay, yeah, this is where it should be, and you will find it.
Another plug for Bangalore is the founders are from Bangalore as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. The app is amazing.
And it's not just about the app, the whole business model. Sorry to interrupt. It's not about the whole business model, right? The way they charge you, the way they serve you, all those things go into the user experience. It's beyond that app, their services and everything, right? um, all those things adds up to the why I like that app.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think you might be talking about this later, but what do you look for in a potential candidate, like the technical skills or the soft skills, and now the communication?
One word answer: honesty.
Honesty, right?
Honesty. That's the If they are honest about what they are doing, that's the thing. If somebody comes and tells me, hey, I don't know this, I've just did it because of XYZ, I appreciate that. Rather than they coming and telling me, hey, okay, I did this, I did that, and then when I cross question or when I discuss with them, they the things does not add up to the final answer. Right? So honesty is, if you have done it just for the sake of it, tell me. Okay, I don't know it, but it was part of the process. To explore the process, I did it. That's
Right.
fair enough. Rather than you giving some random answer.
Yeah, it would save a lot of embarrassment later on as well.
Yeah.
Next is, if you are a fan of fonts, then what are the top 2 fonts that you use for designing in your recent apps?
So I'm a big fan of fonts. Okay.
Okay.
And so that's why it's very hard to put 2 fonts in that bucket, because again, it is all contextual. But if I would not say that I use in an app, because when I design an app, I look at the branding, the guidelines, the users,
Right.
the kind of scalability, everything, right? But if I have to use something, I nowadays choose Graphic or Max as my fonts, and I'm fan of sans serif fonts. So
Sans serif.
personally, I prefer Graphic and Max, MAXX. Those are a couple of my favorite fonts lately. They have a lot of varieties. They give you like a lot of font weights, and also you can create hierarchies, etc. Using them.
Those are the best. Yeah. Next was, what's the one defining feature that makes you say that this app has really good user experience?
The If I don't have to, if that feature stays with me or impacts my life after I close the app,
Okay.
That's the defining feature that, okay, I did this task and I know that this is what has performed, and I don't have to worry about anything. And
Right.
I've done it. My task is done. Right.
I love that answer. Yeah.
It's not about what it does on the screen, what it does outside the screen, what it makes
The
me
value it
feel.
provides.
Yes, that's what
Okay.
that's how I define the feature.
Okay. What do you personally do when you're stuck while designing?
I take a long break.
Okay.
I do something which does not have anything to do with design. Okay, I go play a game of badminton, go play a bit of game of snooker. However, the tight timeline is right. Even let's say if I have to finish something in a day, right, and I'm stuck at the middle of the day, I'll just take a 10-minute walk and not think about that problem. It gives me a break. I just get out of that environment, do something else, and come back. Most of the time, like 99% of the time, I was able to solve that problem within next 1 hour.
Right. And the last question would be, what has been your favorite project till date and why? Anything that you can think of? Just
Lot of them. There's favorite moments for each and every project, but there's not one, but I can tell two projects. I would not name the project, but I'll tell you the incidents. The first one was when UPI was launched in 2016 sometime. I was one of those early designers who got their hands on designing and UPI applications. I remember the first brief was, you will have an email ID, kind of an ID, with which you will link your account, and any person from any bank can send you the money. This was the first brief, and the person who was briefing is like, ask me a question, I know you have a lot of questions. Right. That was one of the best moment. And another moment was when these are, both of them are comparable, where I was working on a project where for entire country there was no online loan available in that country because of the government regulation. And I was given a challenge that, we have been struggling with this particular problem because of this regulation, and we are supposed to send something to the government as a mandate. We are not able to offer this particular thing to our customers. And that moment, within next 1 month, I had to solve that. And I can proudly say that in that 1 month, I sat with compliance, everybody, and then they took it to the Reserve Bank of that particular country. The bank took my designs, my prototype to the bank, to the Reserve Bank, and got an approval to launch that feature in that company. It was just like giving an online loan, but then it changed the way the entire thing functions. The problem was not about screen. It was, like I said, the impact was much bigger than the screen.
Right.
So yeah, those are the moments. UPI was another moment that, you were not impacting just the screen. It was designing the entire system or communication of this new technology to entire India.
That's great. I can't wait to work on something that has such a huge impact. So I think that's wonderful what you've done.
Yeah.
So that's the end of the questions. Thanks a lot for being a sport and answering all the questions. And we can jump into the presentations. And guys, keep all your questions ready, because this is your chance to ask all your questions. You're attending, you might as well make it interactive. So keep it ready, and over to you, Konark, whenever you're ready.
Yeah, we just open the presentation and then.
Sure. Would we go to the Miro board first or the presentation?
Yeah, so I just wanted to explain them what we are going to do. Okay. Right? If you could help me with just placing that link into the chat, Utkarsh or you, anybody, that would be great, or else I can log out and do. So what we are going to do, guys, is we are going to, let me just place that link. Better.
That's fine. I can send it across. I'll do the pasting.
Okay, so you can still see my screen, right? With the presentation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know which screen is seen, so that's the reason. Like, it's just what is your definition of user experience, right?
Yeah, that's the screen.
Wait, I think I stopped sharing this thing. I shared the wrong screen. Just give me 1 second. Yeah, now. Okay. So yeah, this is the screen. As you see on the screen, right, there's this, we are going to, all of you can see that there is a card which you have to design. I've written, there are some characters on the top, emojis. You have to put that, whichever you like, pick a color which you like, put your name, put your location, and write a sentence that what user experience according to you is, right? What user experience design is. So that's what we are going to do. I want to understand what you guys think, and let's the game begin. And then what we are going to do is, if you see below in the Figma board, I have created 4 categories. I understand all of you will be in one of these categories since this is a workshop for starter. So if you could place your card in one of those categories, it will give me an idea that where most of you, at what stage of your career you guys are. And I'll be focusing my discussion more towards that, and will be able to cover most of your questions.
Yeah. Guys,
Please
make
copy
a
the thing so others can also copy it. Just don't move it, just copy paste it. And if you guys are not able to, don't unlock it or anything. I can see people are unlocking it. Yeah, just copy paste it. That will be easier for you guys. You were saying something, Devji?
yeah. Guys, don't edit the 5 main cards that were there. You can take a copy and then make changes to that.
Yeah.
Marine.
Same with the top emojis. Just copy that so others can also use it.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead, Konark. That's
No, I was just, somebody has copied, so I'm just creating it. But a little messy thing is good.
Shika, you can take a copy of that and then make a change.
And then let me share my screen one more time and publish what is happening on the PicGen. So you can see. And people who have already written, right, you guys can use these stamps to, actually, say thumbs up, love to anybody else's reason, whatever they've given. So Kaila is very exciting.
Cool, I love this.
This is what I like about co-creation. It just goes. Nobody is picking up characters. Everybody's writing first. That's good.
Yeah, and no one's pasting it under categories as well.
That's okay. That they can do later. Somebody has copied the categories itself. Maria, please use a card to write this? Maria, yeah, you can use one of these top cards to write all those things inside that, and have a character over there.
So, guys, you just have to paste your card in one of the 4 sections below and not. Yeah, like how Shaheen, Vishnu.
Vishnu, everybody else plays. Yeah.
Yeah,
Guys,
something like.
with put the characters. Put the characters.
So let me do it for Shaheen.
So we will do this activity for next 5 minutes, and then we'll move ahead with the presentation discussion. Sounds
Yeah.
fine, Devki?
Sounds good. Sounds good. The categories are I'll be just start my journey. I've been in the industry and switching. I'm looking for my first job, started my journey, and we have few more categories coming in.
Yeah.
Wait, what's happening?
No, nothing. I'm just looking at. Oh, somebody has just copied this entire thing. I'll just delete it.
And locked it as well.
I've already locked it. I don't know how I. I think Maria, you are struggling. It's okay. You just paste that in one of the categories. It's okay. However it is. I think that entire thing is broken. So just put your that just that place. Just place it anywhere you like. Yeah, that will be fine.
Muskan, do you want a card?
But that's okay. I think her card is completely unlocked. It will take more time for us to do that. And then the information will not come. So anybody have any questions or anybody wants to share what they've written, right? I think meanwhile others write, you guys can speak up and we can discuss what's your reason if you guys want to say it loud. What does
Yeah.
user experience means to you? What is user experience according to you?
Guys, feel free to unmute and
Unmute and answer, yeah.
yeah.
Hi, everyone. My name is Babatola from Nigeria. Thank you very much for putting this session together. For me, I think user experience is the overall experience a user, I'll say, goes through when using a product, and you can measure the experience by ease of use or by the, say, functionalities that makes them happy. Yeah.
Okay. Yes, very true. Very true. Yeah. That's last time which you said about, right, that it makes them happy, right? That's what is the real user experience, right? It makes them happy, make them satisfied. Ultimately everything comes to that, and that's when you make loyal fan base or loyal customers who will come back to using your user experience or using your product again and again, irrespective whether it's a digital product, app, or it's a service which somebody is providing, right? It all comes down to that one. If you make them happy, if you make them satisfied. Very true.
Yeah,
Thanks,
hello, Konark.
Yeah.
Yeah, In my terms, the user experience is like user complete his goal without any worry or without any problem. So he complete his task without means any facing any issues.
Yeah, very true. That's the all that's the thing for which all of us are working for, right? That to complete their task without any worry. And that's what I said, right? When Devki asked that, that's what it is. Like, that worry free, or that being that not being worried about that thing is the ultimate user experience. That's what makes people happy. Very true. Let's read some of the answers. Yep,
Yeah.
people feel free to jump in. Okay, I'm just zooming in to see some answers.
Looks like most of our audience are just starting off in the journey, UX journey.
That's okay. Yeah. And then, then people are trying to switch, and then people are trying to, look for the first job. Yeah.
So,
People
Yogesh,
balance.
the link is right above. Let me paste it again.
Okay. Should people please feel free to keep editing this. Unfortunately we have to move on with the presentation, and then uh, we'll we'll discuss more question and answer toward the end, right? So should we start, Devki, with the next
Sure.
session?
We can go on to reading the answers after the presentation in that case.
Yeah, after the presentation, people can write till that time.
Awesome. Sure.
So let me know if you can see my screen. So yeah, so this is what we have done, right? You guys have told me what's your definition of user experience and whatever people have spoken about. I think in nutshell, everybody is talking the same thing, and it's beyond screens and making them happy and all about emotions, and that's absolutely right. Uh, now, sorry, yeah. So as we saw in that, uh, just in the activity we just did, right? Most of you are in the starting phase of your journey, like you're just starting as the journey of the user experience, right? So how do you start your journey? Like the it's the difficult journey to start. Okay, it's not that easy if you're starting. It looks easy, but it takes time. Not difficult, but it takes time. You need to dedicate the time of at least 3 to 6 months to learn the process. You have to uh, actually understand all the step involved in the process, right? Otherwise, it's not, it is not complete. Okay. And how do you do that? There are many ways to do it. Right? Whether you are, let's say, from an engineering background, or whether you are from, let's say, uh, any finance background or any other background, right? If you are starting your journey, you have to dedicate some time, right? Uh, it could be anywhere between 3 to 6 months, is what my assumption is, and every day you have to give at least 3 to 4 hours in learning about user experience. Okay, and what you need to do is get training. Now, when I say get training, it not necessarily means that you get trained in a institute like a DesignBoat, or like a professional, or or a full-time degree. If you have time, definitely do that. It gives you a boost, and it increases. It gives you a fast start, but you can go find a mentor, work with them, find a project, and then go along with that, right? Work with them, take up a project, take up any project which you want, get some uh, experience around that, find a problem, and start making a project, right? And that you will understand the journey. And it's not one project, right? You will have to do multiple projects, but focus on one project at one time. So that's how you started. Another thing is you have to read a lot of things. read blogs, case studies. There is a lot of material out there which you can read. There are Medium blogs, there are YouTube channels. Follow them. Get in touch with other mentors through ADPList. There are people who are putting their case studies. Go to Behance, see what people are putting it, right, and or use any other or platform where you get knowledge from. So get the knowledge, but what you need to do is you need to pick right things for your project. So go study things and understand why these people are doing what they are doing. Everybody will have their different process. Okay, every problem needs the different process. So if you have a problem with food, it has a different food delivery app. It has a different process versus if you have something to do with, let's say, enterprise application. Okay, it has a different process because the target audiences are different. There are different ergonomics involved into it. A lot of other things which affects the overall user experience, right? So see these studies, see how people tackle all these different situations. Read books. One of the book which everybody should read, and I think you must have heard it in previous sessions, or if you are talking to anybody, is Design of Everyday Things by Don Norman, right? Follow him. There are a lot of, he is doing one of the course on IDF, which is 21st century design, which also talks about not just about design as a whole and how a design should perform, should be in the 21st century, right? It's a very good course. I myself, I'm also taking that course, right? So do look for that. There are a lot of, he's written a lot of papers on that. You will find it online, his papers and all. Go through that. I definitely suggest his knowledge, his reference, right? There in Nelson Norman group. Go through their, they have a lot of 101 page articles, etc. Those will really help you. Okay, so do that. One of the key thing is, right, you do all these things. All these things will only come handy if you observe what you feel. Like what I'm saying is, you have to observe your surroundings, right? You start finding opportunities to improve the experience in your surrounding. Let's say if you are taking a cab, if you are traveling by bus, if you are taking, if you are eating, right, or if you do anything, right, everywhere you have to observe. And when I say observe, there will be some good experiences, right? You will experience some good things in one area, which you can bring it to another area. So you have to experience a lot of things. You have to keep observing what is happening in your surroundings, right? See how people solve the problem. The inspiration will come from anywhere. It can come from a person who is selling something on the street, right? He will solve his problem on his way. I remember when I was in Mumbai during my college days, we used to see this. I don't know how many people are from Mumbai. There used to be this puncher guys, right, who do the puncher repair. They used to write their mobile numbers and uh, their mobile number and their name on footpath. Okay, on the footpath, and you have this checkered stripes, right? So there is a yellow and a black checkered stripes on the footpath. In the black, they will write it with white letters, and the way they used to write it, like if anybody you notice, if you go into Mumbai streets, that you will notice that it is not in straight line. Okay, they will have whatever space they have, they will communicate their number perfectly. You will never read their number wrong or their name wrong. Okay, that you get an inspiration from that as well. It's not so, inspiration can strike from anywhere. The hierarchy, the way they lay out it, it's beautiful. He's just trying to market himself, but he knows that what their target audience needs, and they just write it in that way that, okay, ultimately he has to get the right number. Whether he or she reads it in 2 lines or 1 line, they have to get the right number. So the observation can come from there, or you're traveling abroad, you're in flights. Anyway, keep observing it, right? One of the good example is Indigo. Most of us have flied in India, at least most of us have flew by Indigo, right? One of the, they do very small things when you travel with them, right? They don't say Indigo Indian standard time. They use word Indigo standard time, right? Which gives you a connect with them. They do this lot of this thing to give you that premium experience, which other airlines don't give you. The way they greet you, the way their ramps are, the way their seats are, everything has an experience, right? So you have to observe all those things. That's the key. And then you bring it to whatever you do, right? You have to inspire. So basically, those are your inspirations. Um, Another thing is you have to find a meaningful projects for your portfolio. What do I mean by meaningful projects? These projects are supposed to solve a problem or enhance an experience, right? You, whenever you do a project or product, right, you have to take one problem at a time or a one experience at a time, that I am going to redesign, let's say, um, Uber's experience, because I feel that this particular thing in Uber is not working well, or in Ola, or in this thing, and I'm going to redesign that experience, right? Or let's say, if since I took Indigo's example, right? When I travel with Indigo, let's say their their check-in process is not right, right? I'm going to redesign that check-in process where I don't have to wait in the line, or where I don't have to do XYZ things, right? These are the projects you find. So when I'm saying user experience, I'm not just sticking to the tradition, the typical what they say, that design an app or design a thing. You do everything. You find that experience, saying that, okay, this is the problem which I want to solve. This is the experience which I want to give, and then see that what all digital intervention you can do, or what all things which you will bring on the table, which will solve this problem and give the better user experience, right? So for that, you may have to talk to 5 people, 50 people. You have to do the surveys, go through that process. The process remains the same, right? You talk to people who fly frequently, you understand their experiences, and that's what you bring it onto the table. And then if it comes to redesigning an app, right? Or you say that, okay, I'll partially redesign an app, and I'm going to partially redesign the way they work in general, or I'm going to do redesign of their app, their website. I want to do certain things. Then it's a story or an experience which you build from end to end. Okay, you're not building an app, or you're not building a thing. Remember that you are building a meaningful experience or a product for everybody, and it goes beyond the screen. And like all of you have said, right? Like whoever spoke, it makes them happy. So the app does not make happy. The overall experience make a person happy, right? And while you do all these things, okay, one thing you have to remember: all these things take time. Okay, so in start of your journey, it's going to be slow. Okay, you will find a lot of troubles. It will give you nightmares. When it gives you nightmares, it's a good sign. If you are awake at night and thinking about how to solve this problem, it's a good sign. Trust me, it's a good sign, because you are so much into it. If it comes in your dreams, it's a good sign, because you are so deep into it, and you are enjoying that. That's why it is with you. Okay, and once it is with you, you will definitely solve it. There is no way you won't solve it, right? Because you've given whole heart into it. If it doesn't give you nightmares, that's okay. Not everything will give you nightmares, but still, if you give it enough time, be patient, it will give you a full result. So it will take time. Don't try to boil the entire ocean at the same time. Solve small problem, and rather than solving many small problems, solve one big problem. Okay, or give a complete good experience. That will help you. Okay, and that will give you a good start as a user experience, and it will give you good confidence that, okay, I can solve things, right? So that's what it is. And one of the thing is, a lot of people these days, I see, when they start, right, they focus on learning tools. Okay, they focus so much on learning tools that, okay, I know Figma, I know Sketch, I need to know XD. Okay, these all tools are brilliant. They are very important. I'm not saying that they are not important, right? But they are tools. You learn that, but you just don't focus on that. Okay, Figma, well and good. You can do a lot of things in Figma. Figma is a brilliant tool. I love that tool. But it has to go beyond that. It's just a tool with which you create great experiences. So make sure that you have balance of both. You understand the problem, you understand the experience which you are creating, and you use the tool wisely to achieve that experience. Okay. Once you master the tool, it will help you to design the experience which you design. Okay. So these are some of the pointers which you have to keep in mind when you are starting your journey into user experience. Okay. In the next slide, if anybody wants, whatever I've said, right, I've put this some pointers. I'll stop for a few seconds. If anybody has a question, you guys can ask, or I can take the question at the end. I'm okay with it. But if anybody wants to take a screenshot of this, these are the points which I've spoke about. You guys can take a screenshot. Anyways, the entire lecture will be on the YouTube, but if anybody wants to take a screenshot, and if anybody has a question, Devki, should we do that or should we wait for the question at last?
That's totally fine. If we have different sections, right? So if someone wants to unmute and ask, they can do that now as well. We can take 2 to 3 questions. Vishnu has raised his hand. Go ahead.
The next question is
Hi, Konark. Good evening. It's nice meeting you. Actually, I'm just starting my UI UX career. I'm a fresher. I have done a course in DesignBoat. The interview is upfront, and what will they expect from me in the interviews, and how to equip myself for interviews and face the industry as a fresher.
So, are you talking about the interview?
Yeah, it's kind of an interview in the sense the skills to develop to face an interview and what will be expected from me in that interview. Yeah, like that.
So, okay, Vishnu, if you just give me like another 5-10 minutes, I'm going to come at the there's one last slide where I'm answering this question. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. It's totally fine.
Suppose that if your question is not answered, right, I will come back to you. Is that fine?
Yeah, okay, fine, totally fine. I'm okay with it.
Oh,
thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, Tina also had some questions. Tina?
Yes, I did, but I guess you're still to complete, so I think I can wait.
Okay.
So guys, anything based on whatever he said now, if you have some doubts, then you can ask that.
Yeah, my doubt was actually out of the rapid fire questions that were going on. If I can ask that now.
Yeah, you can.
I was just wondering, you said Zerodha, right? So what are the other apps that you have experienced and you found that Zerodha is good?
So I have experienced almost all the financial app. Like I've used ICICI Bank, I've used SBFC Bank, right? All of these banks app, right? I've used Angel as well. Okay. So I've used some of these apps, and from that point of view, I found Zerodha better. It gives me very raw and gives me a lot of control.
Okay, and this is specific the handling the demat account, right? Because ICICI is a banking. I mean, it gives you banking facilities also, loan facilities, and many more banking features. But I'm just asking if there is any other app which focuses only on demat trading and all, but still you found Zerodha better.
So there is Angel, there is Grow, there are a lot of these. Okay. I have to actually go through my this thing. I've used ET Money as well, right? There was some other apps also, because I was doing a lot of experience. I don't remember what all apps I've used at that time, right? Because since past 2 years I've been continuously on Zerodha, and I've not even experienced any other apps in the last 2 years. So maybe that could be a reason why I'm stuck to Zerodha. But at that time, Zerodha got me on it, and then I only used few other apps, but they were not as good as Zerodha.
Okay. Okay, so you've done your bit of research and then you're saying Zerodha is the best.
Yeah. But then see, in my case, I was kind of an expert user in that sense, because I wanted those control, right? People just wants to invest in mutual funds. For them, there are a lot of other apps are there, small cases there, and all those things are there, right? Which is much more simpler, right? there's wealthy also. All these are there where which only helps you to invest. I am more into the trading and all. So at that time, Zerodha helped me.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. That
And
answers my question.
apart from, and why the experience is because the kind of complexity that whole domain is, right? And to fit that into that small app, right? And with this ease is a great thing which they have done. Plus the
Correct.
business model which they have. So it's not just about the app, but it's a whole business model as a experience is what I'm saying.
Right. I totally agree with that because I was also using Zerodha, but I was always under that impression that, the FOMO, am I missing out on a better app? So thanks for clarifying that and
Okay.
helping me decide that I've chosen the best.
Yeah.
So Konark, just a quick one in continuation to Tina's question. Is there like a sub-field that UX, UI designers usually get into and then go to projects in that particular niche itself? Say, for instance, people could go into finance and then design for banks and other such apps, or people could go into fashion industry and then design for those particular that particular niche. Uh, is there something like this, or one can be versatile enough to go into different industries or projects?
It's actually both. It's up to the, it's a very good question. And a lot of people are in this dilemma, okay, when they go that whether to become a specialist or a generalist. That's the term they use.
Okay.
Right? A person who works on multiple domain is a
Mhm.
generalist, is what they call. Okay. And then there is a specialist who works in one domain, right?
Okay.
There are advantages in both the scenario and disadvantages in both the scenario. So some people are, like, okay, I'm more inclined towards, one particular field, or my background, let's say, is always finance, then I enjoy doing that and I can do it for rest of my life, right? So then they choose that path. Some people wants to experiment more frequently. They are adventurous, right? They get bored when they are in the same environment. They choose the other path.
Okay.
So okay, I need somewhere where I can every 3 to 6 months or a year, I can change a project, I can go from finance to e-commerce, and that's when they go into the service industry where they get this freedom. And the other guys, they took a product route where they can, work on one product, mature it to a level, and then move on to another product like that. So it's everybody has their own method, which they develop after they do multiple experiences.
Yes, maybe we'll get an understanding after working on a few 10, 15, 20 different projects and see if I have a niche that I like that I can get into.
Yeah, 10, 20, 30 projects will be too much, but you will figure out that in, let's say, 2 or 3 projects itself, that, I'm liking this change, or I would like to stick to one project, right?
Yeah.
Trust me, like by third or fourth project, you will figure out that this is what it is.
All right. Thank you.
You don't need 10 projects for that.
Okay. Good to know.
Yeah.
Thanks. I think we can continue, right, with the presentation, or should we take more questions?
I think let's do the question answer later. So, we finish the entire presentation in time and then go to the question answer at the last.
Sure.
Yeah, but I would be happy to stay for a longer time till, another 30, 40 minutes after the presentation to, answer all your questions.
Perfect.
So, let's say the next one, like, how do I start if I am a design practitioner working as an industrial designer or a graphic designer or architect today? So whatever I said before, right, it helps true for everybody. Okay, now what I'm going to say is also, as and when you grow into the industry, right, this all things you will also realize that, okay, I need this. So it's not that whatever the points over here are not applicable to the previous category or who are just starting, right? But these guys are at little advanced stage because they have an industry experience. Okay, they know how the industry works. So they have seen, like, somebody just asked the question about where to go, right? So they have experienced the one side of industry. They have experienced what they were earlier doing, right? They were a graphic designer or architect or anything. Now they want to shift. So they have made a decision that, okay, I don't want to do this. Any time of your career, right? What you want, always remember what is more important is what I don't want to do. Okay, then what I want to do, because I would like to do many things. And there is much more chance that, okay, I can do this, I can do that, I can do this. But if you want to make a decision, it is very important that you don't that, okay, you know that I don't want to do this. I'm not going to be this person, right? And that's how we take all our life decisions. We say, okay, I'm not going to do this. When we are in 10th or 12th, right, we'll say, okay, I'm not going to take a science stream, or I'm not going to take physics, or I'm not going to take arts, right? I'm not going to play a basketball, or I'm not going to play a soccer or a football. I'm going to play cricket, or I'm going to play soccer. I'm not going to play cricket. I don't like cricket, right? That's how we take our decisions. So we absolutely say that, okay, I'm not going to do this, but I will explore all these things. So they keep doing that, right? So these guys are like, they have made one choice that, okay, I want to change the career. I don't want to go ahead in life with this particular thing, right? And it could be anything, okay? It could be any practitioner. Like I was saying, Maria, who was writing over there, right? She was a sales executive, and I think she wants to start in something else, right? She also has an industry experience, right? Her industry experience in marketing will come very handy when she designs something, and she will think from, hey, how a marketing person would like to market this app, and how a consumer thinks, because marketing also involves consumer and the way you connect with the consumer, right? So she will bring those thoughts and all. So for them, they have to bring those flavor. If you are not bringing your flavors from your past experience, then it's not good. It makes you unique. Okay, it gives you strength. So always bring that knowledge into what you're doing, right? Saying that, so those are your skills, right? So you have to focus on your strongest skill. Let's say somebody's from marketing and they have done a lot of research. So that means that your research could be your strong skill, right? Or somebody has done graphic design, right? So for them, the typography and the layout and etc. could be their strong skills. So highlight those, right? There's no point highlighting a user experience research, which is not your strong suit. It's okay. You will learn user experience research when you go into the industry, right? Or when you shift, you take an entry as a visual designer, or somebody who are really good with graphics, right? And little meet more people and grow in that field, right? And a lot of people have done that. I myself was a graphic designer who became a UX designer and grew up, became a lead and then director, etc. So everybody learns that. So you find your start, right? Where your strength is. Okay, get comfortable, then try something new, and then get comfortable. So always then see that which skill you want to develop, because when you go into the industry, when you are settled with something which you are confident about, right? You have that confidence, and then you know from who is your mentor to learn this particular skill which you want to acquire, right? Then find your right mentors, and from there you actually go to the next level, right? And whatever you do, right? Let's say if you're looking for a job, for let's say you want to start with it, right? And let's say you know that, okay, I have some certain knowledge, and based on that I would like to first try and get a job. So then make a portfolio centered around that thing. But okay, I am good at user research, right? I would like to do the end-to-end process, but right now I'm good at user research. Why can't I apply for a user research job? Or if I'm good at visual design, why can't I do a visual design job? Or let's say if I'm good at strategy, right? Why can't I apply for a strategic role in a company where there are a lot of design strategists and all those kind of a role, right? Why can't I start with that, right? So find your strong skill and make portfolio or make your presentations, whatever you want, or even if it's your resume, right? Should reflect that thing. And I think Anish in his presentation was talking about the similar thing, right? In an A4, you highlight those skills. So if you guys have not seen that thing, I highly recommend that you see that when you are. So he will tell you what goes behind when somebody is hiring a person, right? So in that he talks about all these things. Another thing is, let's say a good way to start is look for an internship rather than a full-time opportunity. Start with an internship, because that always is a less riskier for you as well as the employer. Because when they hire you, they expect a certain kind of a thing. Like when you go as an intern, they know that you are looking for learning things, right? and getting an internship becomes much more easier, and then the dependency is low and you have freedom to experiment. You do 3 months internship here, 2 months internship there, and then you realize, okay, this is where I want to be, this is what I like, whether I like a product company or whether I like an agency side, a service company, what is it that I like, right? You meet different people, because when you are an intern, they will pull, you have that freedom to go and talk to different people and gain that knowledge, right? And then that would also help you. And I'm not saying that you don't get a full-time opportunity, but internship is also a good way to start with it, right? And to get that also, you will need some sort of a basic portfolio, right? You can get that, with the help of your mentors, right? ADPList is anyways helping us connect together, right? Let's get together, we discuss your portfolio, we'll improve it. In that case, you will learn also, right? Or if you have some friend who is already there in the industry, right? Take their help, they will give you an honest feedback, right? And then that's how you start with it. Portfolio review is a very key thing in anything you do, right? So like I did in last thing.
Question, sorry, I knew this question would come up about stipend, right? So I think Samay has asked, should we look for stipend in a small company or without stipend in a design studio? I think mostly
I would say stipend, this is my personal view, and this is what I was told by one of my professors as well. Look for stipend in any case, okay? There's a mentality attached to it, and this is what I tell everybody, that okay, when you get a stipend, you are responsible because somebody's paying you to do a job, right? So you will be like, hey, he's paying me, I am supposed to give my best work, okay? And the other side as well, right? This person will also be feeling like, they will also not feel that, okay, let me get maximum out of this person for free, okay? When things are in the free, you always feel like, okay, I will not give all these things for free, right? I will not take, and this other person is like, okay, he's free person, let me take maximum out of him. So that there's, a mutual respect between both the giver and the taker, right? I would say always expect stipend. Now, what stipend they give you, it's up to you if you agree to that or not. That I don't want to put a benchmark on it, right? Because it depends upon the company to company. Some company pays more, some company pays less. It's the way what they feel, they can right now spend, right? Every company has their own rules and regulation, how many interns they have, and a lot of things around that, right? But this is what it is. You should have the stipend, is my personal view. There's some other person, as a fresher in UI design, how do I answer the recruiter's question? What are your expectations in terms of the salary? Okay. See, there are a lot of things, right? You look at yourself, that what do you need to survive before I answer the question, let me just go to the next slide so people can take a screenshot. Okay. Yeah. So as a fresher, right, there are two ways you can do that. Let's say you are in a city where you think, okay, for my survival, I basically need this much money. Okay. I need this much in hand, right? That is my starting point. Without that, I won't be able to survive for a longer time. A sustainable money. It could be 50,000 in Bangalore or 15,000 in some other city. Wherever you are staying, do some basic your research, saying that, hey, the house will cost me this much, my food will cost me this much, my travel will cost me this much, then I need a certain for my savings. And based on that, you can say that, okay, I think you can say that, okay, if I get this much package, I will be happy to, work. It will not be like, okay, I'm underpaid or more paid. It's sustainable for me. Sustainability is what. If you can't sustain with that salary, it's not helpful for anybody. If you can sustain in that salary, even it is little bit here or there, you will enjoy the work, right? And that's how you should, and you don't need to explain this to your recruiter, saying that, hey, this is what my breakup is. But you can, based on this, you can tell them that, if I get in hand this much, this is my expectation. and then wait for them to say that, okay, this is what we can offer, this is what we can't offer. Or you can ask them that, what is it that you generally give to a fresher? And if the number, if they tell you that, this is the number which we will offer, and if this is acceptable to you, you can just go with it. Okay. How do you know a company is correct for your current knowledge and skills, or how do I search for such a kind of company in apps like LinkedIn? Which app, according to you, is the best job portal? Okay. Can I take this, Mr. Can I take this question after the we just 2 more slides away? Can I take this question just after that, if you don't mind? Yeah.
I'll ask the question again in the end.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
Yeah.
So, because we are almost towards the 1 hour, finishing the 1 hour, right? I want to finish the presentation and then go to the questions. So now to the people who ask, right? I'm looking for my first job to start my career in user experience, right? How do I, start with it? So the key to this is a good portfolio. Okay, a good portfolio is the key. Now, as I said, you have to have a meaningful projects in the portfolio. As soon as you have that, your portfolio is automatically getting better, right? Crisp communication. Guys, just give me 1 second. Just give me 1 second. For this one, I have some. Yeah. So, yeah. Just give me 1 second, okay? Yes, sorry. Yes.
Is there a technical issue? Anything you need my assistance in?
No. It's just at my end. For
Okay.
this particular point, I written down some notes which I don't want to miss.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's something which I'm copying. So it is in front of me, nothing else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think even
But-
when you spoke about the salary point of view, right? Like at the end of the day, you're going to ask what you think you deserve. And that again boils down to how strong you are in your skill set. So I think as and when you keep improving your skill sets, you yourself would know how much to ask or expect. I just wanted to-
and then once you are in the industry, right, you also know, you will meet friends and you will just generally, just hunt around saying that, okay, is anybody paying more? Is anybody paying less? You will get that idea. Okay, that now I'm at this level, now I need to change certain things. Now I'm grown up, I need certain salary bracket. So that's how it happens, right? But yeah, I'll come. We'll take the salary point because it's very dynamic from which company to company. When they ask you.
Correct.
It's a very, very tough question to answer as well, because certain company values more versus certain company because their business does not have, let's say, so much value generated from the user experience.
Right.
Or rather than that, they don't think that user experience brings that much value because they have the monopoly. Whether their product is good or bad, people are going to use it. So they don't care, right? Over there, you're not going to get more salary. But somewhere where they are valued, you may get more than what you ask as well, right? That's also sometimes becomes a risk, but we'll come to that. Now, about the portfolio, right? When you say good portfolio, right? I was saying make a good portfolio. What is it like? Like I said earlier, the communication, right, is very underrated skills. Earlier we spoke about, right? There's a thing which my professor used to tell me that there's a clean communication and then there is a clear communication. Okay, clean communication is very neat and clean. Okay, it looks clean, it's very well defined and everything, but it does not communicate. But it is very cramped. It is not. It does not communicate much. It looks nice, but doesn't. At the end, you'll say, "Huh." But yes, what are you trying to say? Okay. Then it's like you have to do a clear communication. That is more valuable. Let's say, so when you have clear in your communication, right, it always automatically becomes little clean itself. So have a clean and clear and good communication. It's a key to it. When you talk to people, when you make your portfolio, or when you send your, uh, um, let's say, when you say send your cover letter, right? You write a long cover letter, but you're not covering the points which the recruiter or the person who is reviewing your cover letter is looking for, right? It is written in some one line, in like long page. You've done the spelling mistakes. You've sometimes I've seen people sending me cover letter where they have not even changed the previous company's name, which they have written the thing, right? That gives me that how all those things you have to have absolutely clear idea about it. What is it that I'm trying to communicate to them? This is what there's no harm in having a templatized version for all your cover letter. There's no harm in it, but make sure that at least you do that sanity check. You are applying at 10 places. Take your time. Make sure that you are clear about what you are wanting to do them. Right? I have had people who come to the interview, where I go to the interview and they say, hey, we don't know what your company does. And when you go and look at their cover letter, right? The cover letter starts with, hey, I have been following your company for a year. Right? Now that doesn't match. Right? So don't make those kind of a thing. Be clear. If you don't know about the company, don't write it. Okay, just say that, hey, I'm looking for a job. If you have something, let me know. It could be a very short, sweet message. That's fine, rather than writing an essay. So have a clear communication, good communication. That message should go clearly, right?
I think there's a question here about jargons. Do we have to use jargons to sound smart, or is it fine if we use very clear and easy understandable words so that the message is put across?
Yeah, yes, you should not use the jargons. Why do you need to use those jargons, right? If you understand that jargon, right? If you use it correctly, it will not be a jargon. Right? If you use that word correctly, then you will not call it a jargon, because you have used it in right context. Right? The moment you try to pretend that, okay, I know this, I have to say that, I'm a user researcher, or I know how to do a user research, right? And then you will say, okay, let me use empathy map, or let me use competitive analysis, or let me use this thing. I've done these things. The moment you say, and if they ask you a cross question, you have lost the thing, because then it is very hard to make that trust, because you have written all those things, right? If you don't believe in, so that's the thing. The moment you call it a jargon, you should not use it. Jargon in its definition, it's a negative word, right? Like how he's using all these jargons. You never use that in a positive way. Have you ever used the word jargon in a positive way? No, we said, oh, he was showing all the jargons. We use jargons to confuse the other person. And you don't want to use those jargon. If you're clear in your communication, it's okay. You don't need to use the jargon. And then it becomes a word.
Yeah.
Right? So it's a part of your communication itself. So then it's not a jargon anymore. Right? I hope that answers the question.
Yeah.
So coming to next point, right? Again, I was saying in the previous thing, right? Play on your key strengths. Okay. Don't make a portfolio, or don't make something which based on companies to company. Okay. I'm applying to, let's say, this particular company. I'm going to show them that, how good I am at the visual design. Now I'm applying to this company. I'm going to show that because they are more focused on research, I'm going to show them that, just make sure that show them that what you bring onto the table. This is my skill set. This is what I am. If they require that skill set, you will get the job automatically, right? You will get the interview call within like a day or so, right? If they don't require, there's no point, hard fitting into that company by, force fitting the, let's say, jargons of everything, or force fitting yourself, right? So always have that, highlight your key strength. Don't use jargon. Keep it crisp, right? That's the next point, right? A lot of people do this and most of it, I've spoken to a lot of people, most of the people put their entire portfolio online, right? And they put entire process and everything. You put it, okay? But when you're sharing it with the recruiter, right? Imagine you are not the only one applying for a job, right? He's the person who is getting 10 more applications in a day or 20 more. If you're in a bigger company, it's even more, right? He or she has to go through each and every application. They will not have time to go through each and every item which you have written, right? If your portfolio is crisp, problem is identified, a little bit of what steps you have taken, and you can explain that in your cover letter that, hey, the attached portfolio is just a it's a crisp version of my work, right? I'll be presenting my full portfolio showcase when we come for an interview, right? Then you have a story to tell when you come for the interview, right? You have the entire thing, where you get a proper time and this thing. Otherwise, they don't have time. Let's say if you put yourself into their shoe, if you are hiring somebody and if you have 10 portfolios, right? Will you have time to look at 50 projects in a day? If let's say everybody say and go through it, you will not have that time, right? And that's where your user experience also start. That my user or my target audience right now is the recruiter. What is he going through? He's going through n number of portfolios, right? And how can I make his experience better or her experience better? So I get a chance, right? A lot of people write very nice, creative cover letter. Well, then you just look at the cover letter and let me just talk to this person. Looks very, whether it's a portfolio is a little weak, they are very creative or they are very to the point, right? They come and they come out, they shine actually, and you quickly just have a discussion with them. So they are at least through with the first round where you show them a portfolio showcase, or you give them an assignment, right? Then you have a portfolio showcase. So basically that the interaction is started, right? And a lot of time I face that, I have sent you the portfolio, right? You must have looked at this thing. He or she must have looked at one of the project, right? You show your project best. Okay, this is the project, let's talk about it, because that's my best work. Okay, that's where I put in my heart, or that's where my strong work is there, right? You can start with that, or you can have your storytelling, right? Like Azmina explained one of the her previous days, storytelling of in the UX, right?
Yeah.
The storytelling, when you are putting your portfolio together, right, it also makes a lot of difference. They should be, in 20-30 minutes, make a story, do a mock interview with somebody. They will say, where they lost you, where they where they were more interested, right? And the best example of storytelling or a presentation, right, is TED Talks. If you go to TED Talks, people present their life's worth of work in those 20 to 30 minutes, right? You have to just present one of your project. People explain. You can take inspiration from that. And that the way they talk about the stories, the way they talk about the way they interact with the people, right? Those are all about user experience. So all these things, right, if you put together, right, it helps you. Okay. So put a storytelling together, have the presentations, and during the have a separate presentation than the portfolio is what I personally recommend. Okay, because it tells you that how dedicated are you to the job which you are doing, right? It's not like you mask did it and you open your Behance and you're like, let me just show what is there in Behance. That person might have seen that. Why that person is, or the recruiter is talking to you, or the other designer is talking to you, because they want to know what went behind the scene, right? Have photos of you doing user research, have that presentation separately, so there's something for quick viewing, there is something more a detailed discussion, like a case study, right? Which will, according to me, that will give you high chances of visibility, right? And don't open that quick viewing portfolio over there, otherwise you will lose, because then that's what the experience you give, and now they're like, oh, this is the only thing he has. Then the experience is not there. Even if your work is good, everything, they will think that, okay, you are hiding, you are pretending, because you are not showing me the right stuff when we have dedicated 1 hour.
Yeah.
Right. Whenever you explain the process, have a rationale behind the process. It's very important, reasoning, logic, why did you, or why you did what you did. So I was taking an interview this one time, and this person was showing me the competitive research or competitive analysis which they did. And in that, he had written names of all the founders and when the company was founded. My simple question to him was, what difference it makes by why did you write that the company was founded in so and so years? Right? He could not answer. He's like, no, that was just the information, so I put it. But then how did it become then competitive analysis? What is the competition between 2008 and 2009? This company started in 2008. It could have been, this company had certain drawbacks which this company solved in between 2000 and 2009. Then I will buy that logic. Okay, but okay, fine. There is a logic. Whether it's right or that's debatable. That's subjective. But at least he had a point, or she had a point. Okay. But then if no, it was just a piece of information, then it's not in the competitive analysis, right? Because it is available on the internet. You just copy pasted it. Right? So have whatever process you do, whatever steps you take, have a proper rationale behind it, right? That would always help them to connect with you, connect with the project. That this is where they're coming from. Bring your personal experiences like in the story. Like when I'm talking to you, I'm bringing my experiences that okay, this is what it is, right? This is what it is. This is how this is why I like this particular app, because the brief was good, or the challenge was good. I was doing something else. It was simple, but then this was the good thing. Those things makes you say that okay, this is how you connect with people, right? Then storytelling, as I mentioned, it's important. Do mock interviews, right? It definitely helps you in gaining confidence. Do as many as you do, because a lot of people get confused when they were asked certain question on the spot, right? Do 2-3 mock interviews, you will be questioned by the mentors, right? And ADPList, I have seen a lot of people doing that mock interviews. Do that. They will ask you a question, right? Do it for every round, because every recruiter will tell you that, hey, what is the next round is all about, right? What is the next round is all about? Go tell that to your mentor and say, hey, I need 30 minutes of your time to, do this mock interview. I'm preparing for this thing. This is what they've said. What do you think? How will it will go? Right? Have that discussion. And you will be confident while you go. It's like doing a practice before any game, right? If you want a game, you do a lot of practice. So it's just like a practice. So once that is done, it will give you confidence, and then you will be at ease, right? So do a lot of mock interviews. I think I did one session last 6 to 8 months back, where we had a panel discussion on how mock interviews are important. I don't know if that session is there on the any of the YouTube channel or not, but yeah, I did do a session over there, and this is what all of us were talking. Do as many mock interviews as possible. Do at a regular interval. Don't do it just before the interview. Like if the interview is tomorrow, don't do it today, because it will do more harm than benefit, because then you will be tense if the mock interview does not go well, right? So have a breather to work on the things which are missing, right? So at least have more than 48 hours gap between that one if possible, or do at a regular interval as soon as you start applying, right? Because you know that more or less they are going to ask you for the portfolio, or just ask. See, in ADPList, that's another thing which you get, right? If you're applying for a company, if the person from that company is on the ADPList, right, you can actually talk to them. Like, hey, I'm applying for your company, right? Can you briefly explain me about how the interview process goes? And most probably all the mentors would love to talk about it. Right? It is not a secret, because they have been doing it for everybody. So it's not a secret. They will tell you that, okay, these are the questions you can expect. This is how the flow will be. This is what you should do. And that's why they're there for, right?
Correct.
So That will give you the confidence. And the last but not the least, but the most important thing, and as I said earlier, right, be honest, right? If you don't know, you don't know. Don't use jargon, because these guys are experienced enough, because they are taking your interview, guys. They've seen many people, they have taken many interviews, they have given many interviews. They will catch you in a jiffy saying that, okay, hey, this person is trying to not be honest, right? So, and the moment that doubt comes in, everything else will be questioned, right? And you have to justify everything. So if you be honest at one point of time, then they will know, like, okay, now whatever this guy is saying is honesty, right? It's simple. He's talking to the point. He's not trying to, just get into the company or anything. So be honest, talk to the point. That's what the last thing for any interview would be. So yeah, this is the last slide. After this, we'll start with the question and answer. If I'm not taken any experience one, because I think you guys, the people who have already have the experience in the industry or in the user experience, they have some, so they are not started, they've already started. So given the subject, I have not taken that particular category, but would be happy to answer if you guys have any questions. But this is what it is. I'll stop here for 5 minutes. Like as in, I'll keep the screen as it is, and we can open for the questions.
Sure. We can take the questions that were there in the chat quickly, and then you guys can unmute and start asking. So we kept something for the end, right? I'll just find that quickly. I think it's Nishita's question, right? How do you know a company is correct for your current knowledge and skills? And how do you search for the right job?
See, LinkedIn is a great place to search, okay, for the companies and the kind of company you want to work with. How do you know companies are correct for your current knowledge and skills? There are multiple ways to do it. You talk to people who are already there in that company, right? What they do a little bit of research. People connect with them on LinkedIn, see what they post, what company is posting, right? If that excites you, follow them on social media. There are a lot of hints they give over there, right? If they are getting certain awards, they will definitely put it over there. If they are getting some appreciation, see how they appreciate. It's not about knowledge and skill, right? It's also about how they treat you and how they treat their employees. Do they give value to their employees, right? They might not be posting, okay? It's not that every company will post about their employees, right? But in generally, you will see that they appreciate their employees. Go and see the career. Go and see a lot of UX design in their career, how they've grown in that company, right? So some people will be what is their general tenure in that company? Let's say somebody is a visual designer. Did they stay for 3-4 years in that company? That means the company is good, right? Otherwise, people will be leaving that company. Attrition rate will be very high. Right? So that's what it is, right? Another thing is, if you want to know about your current knowledge and skills, the only way to know is you get in touch with that person or somebody in that company and then talk to them, right? Follow them on, let's say, on Instagram or something, or if they're posting it online, right? Like a lot of companies allow their employees to post their work on Behance, etc., right? Follow them, you will know that the kind of work they do. Okay? That will definitely help them. Now, if everybody has taken a screenshot, I'll just stop the screen sharing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that would be a good thing to do. And other than LinkedIn, I generally don't. I'm not on any other portal for designing. I generally see LinkedIn is a good one. Or you can get in touch with, there are recruiters who specialize in design recruiting, right? You can talk to them as well. They can help you immensely because they talk to candidates day in and day out, right? There are so many design recruiters who can tell you that, hey, how your portfolio should be, what our clients are expecting from the portfolios, right? Or to the candidates who are getting rejected, who are getting a job faster, or who are you know, who are getting through almost all the rounds and then going to the final rounds, etc. Right? So those guys can also help you to find the best job. To them you can give that, hey, these are my skill set. They can actually match the company as well, because they know what companies are fit for your skill set, right? So you need those recruiters. So there are a lot of design recruiters whom you can talk to, and you can find them on LinkedIn. Through those guys, you can get an entry into the companies. I hope I answered your question, Mr. Nishita. Sorry.
Piyush has asked how to solve a physical problem digitally. Let's say I'm going to a store and buying a product. That whole experience can be revamped, and I have it in my mind to make that experience better. How do I add this in my portfolio?
Okay. Can you repeat the question? It was a little long question, so I need to.
Yeah. So I think the question is how to solve a physical problem digitally, and how do I add it to my portfolio, if I've got that right?
Okay. Now, if there's a problem in the physical space, right?
Yeah.
You have to go phygital way. It cannot be solved just digitally, right? Now it really depends upon what the problem is, right? Now the physical problem is that it's not that you can't solve it. Actually, that's the wrong way to say that it's only phygital. But if it's actually phygital, right? Let's take Uber's example, right? The problem was I have to go to a taxi stand, right? Or they saw an opportunity by that, a person has to walk to taxi stand to get an Uber or get a cab, right? They made it so easy that the cab will come to your place, right? Now it's a physical problem, which was solved digitally, but I would call it a phygital solving, because there was a physical taxi app or a person training or involved, and that cab came at the right location, everything, right? So you have to solve it, and the best way to put it into your application is to use a video, like put it in a storyline, saying that, hey, this is what the person is, like a concept video. Okay, this person walked into it, and then they do this thing on the app or in the digital world, which supports how they work in the physical world, right? Amazon Go store in US is a very good example of physical and digital coming together, right? Where you add things into the cart, the bill is there, and if you have Amazon Pay or wallet, you walk out of the store and your money will get cut, etc., 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 right? When they started, this is what I've heard, right? When they started, right, and when they wanted to mock this experience, what they actually did to when they were trying it out, they actually had the cameras and they were watching what people are adding, and they were physically, somebody was sitting and quickly entering it, like, hey, this is what it is, this is the person has added, quickly put that into the cart, right? So you may want to do those kind of videos and mocking up, right, where there is a physical problem which you are solving in the support of the digital. And if you are completely solving in digital, right, if you are making solving the entire thing digitally, then you anyways can put a portfolio, give them a walkthrough, but you can still, you will have to have a storyboard or a storyline to show it, and this is the problem which was earlier, now it is solved digitally like this.
Actually, Konark, it's completely physical, if I would like to just mention it.
No, so but if it's a physical problem and you want to solve it digitally, right? And the question was, it is a physical problem which you want to solve digitally and put it into your portfolio, right?
So I've mailed it as well. I'll just state the problem which I faced. So if by any chance you know a store by the name Bikaner Wala.
Yeah, I know.
So let's say if I'm going to buy a gulab jamun, and what I need to do is I first need to go to that gulab jamun counter. I will ask him that, let's say I want to buy a 1 kg of gulab jamun. He will hand me a receipt. Then I'll go again to the cashier, pay that amount, again come back to that same gulab jamun wala counter, and then pick my packet and then move out from the store.
Yeah.
So the problem I see it, I have to go back and forth twice. I mean, first I am going to the gulab jamun counter, then I'm taking that slip back to the cashier, then again to the gulab jamun counter, and then again back out of the store. I mean, out of the store.
It's very simple. Okay, it's very simple. See, that is solved digitally. Okay, it is funny, but imagine you are standing outside the store, right? Order it online, pay it online, let them pack, go and just pick up. Okay, that is you solving it for yourself. Now let's say you solve it for the entire, all the customer in that store, right? Let's say you have it has multiple solutions. Let's say people wants to buy 1 kg 500, 2 kg 5 kg gulab jamuns, right? You can have packages ready, and then you can show this that okay, this is Piyush who's walking into the store. Okay, he wants to buy 1 kg gulab jamun. Today he's taking this receipt, going into the cashier, paying it, coming in back. What if the person who gives you the first receipt has a QR code into it? You have your mobile phone, scan it with pay with it. That person gets a message, right? And he hands over you the gulab jamun. The problem is solved, right? Does that answer your question? And now, how to put this into your portfolio? Make a video out of this.
Okay.
And put it on your portfolio. This is how I solve this problem.
Okay. So yeah, as you mentioned, there can be multiple solutions. So
multiple solutions that you are trying to solve the problem. What is it? What is the problem which you want to solve? You ultimately the problem over here is not that you are going two or three times, right? The problem over here is you are not getting the image gulab jamun or the thing which you want to buy there and getting faster checkout. The faster checkout is the problem. Problem is not going front and back.
Yep.
So you focus on the faster checking out, not to change the process. So how can I make the faster checkout? So there is no front and back.
Okay. Yep. Thanks for that.
Yeah. Okay.
I think we even have it in MACD already. Like if you go to some MACD, right now you have the screens where you can just buy either pay by cash or check out right there with your card. So you make your order and everything, and then they come and deliver it to your.
Yeah. And see, they have been doing this for a long time, right? MACD is another good example. Like, I don't know if you have seen the Founder movie, right?
Yeah.
Which is entirely on the MACD, and how there's a very particular scene then when he first time he goes and says, hey, this is my receipt, and this guy turns back and brings the food and says, hey, this is your food. Like, no, my food, I just ordered it. Man, this is what your food is. Like, where do I eat? Wherever you want. And he was just amazed by that, right? That's how the person you see that movie, you will realize that MACD has been doing it forever, not in literal sense. They have been industrializing the fast food thing better than anybody, right? Their entire thing is not only the delivery, their training is also faster. It's a lot systemized.
Yeah.
And you see that drive, right? You enter into the one side, you place an order, while you go on to the other side and to the pickup, right? It is ready.
Right.
It's just a U-turn and then the things are ready. That's how it is.
Yeah. We have some people raising their hands. Urvashi, do you want to ask?
A lot of questions.
Yeah.
How do we...
Hi, hello, Urvashi here. First
Yeah.
of all, thank you for giving your time and guidance. So just wanted to know a few things like when you mentioned already, like instead of solving small problem, you can solve a big problem, right? So for example, if one product is already there, okay, and the co-founder or anyone who is telling me to just find a problem with their user journey and solve it, but what I can see, like there are small problem which there the way is for according to me the way is correct what they are going through, but the small problem in each screen there is a hindrance in the user experience. So shall I write down those small problems, or shall I pick only one small problem, like instead of like making everything user experience? So that is my question. In that case, when product is ready, like it's not in scratch,
Yeah.
it's already there. So how to make their experience good? Can I assume that these are the 5 points when I went through as a user, or when I did usability testing with my friends, not friends, like any 5 people, they did point out these 5 things. So maybe I think these 5 things, when we'll do the small icon change or something, it can make the user experience better, instead of showing them, okay, this is the big problem I got in your app, this is the thing I'm gonna solve it with my UX or in UI. So what do
Understood.
you suggest me in that case when?
See, in the context when I said that rather than solving many small problems and solve a big problem was in terms of when you are doing your own project,
Okay.
right? When you are making your portfolio, at that time,
Yes.
if you take too many small problems, you won't be able to
Hmm.
have the focus.
Yeah.
Now, let's say there is already an app which exists, okay?
Yes. Hmm.
Then the lot of things get into the picture, right? The business, the data, right?
Hmm.
The priorities, the technical challenges.
Yes.
They might also know that this is a hindrance, okay?
Okay.
But
Hmm.
technologically, it involves a lot more investment for me to do that. So
Yeah.
let's say, for example, you're designing something and it requires a lot of data to be
Okay.
pulled
Hmm.
in a very short span of time, right? Let's say
Hmm.
you have to pull up, you have to do a lot of calculation and show a number in 1 second, right? Definitely that's a hindrance in the user experience, right?
Hmm.
But the technically it is not physical because the data is lying at multiple places. It will take some time with a lot of
Hmm.
dependency on the customer's data plan or their bandwidth on of internet and everything, right? So based on
Hmm.
that, it will have an impact, right? So you can't change much into that, right? So you have to work with the technology team to solve that problem, right? So it's a
Okay.
small problem. So you can tackle small problem because it's a growing product, right?
Yes.
Product will
Yes.
not
Yes.
wait for the big challenges. So then you can
Okay.
run parallel thing. One thing, a big problem which you will take a little longer time to solve, and then
Hmm.
you do this incremental, just small incremental changes to make sure that those small lower hanging fruits are taken care.
Okay. So I can mention those small things what I
Yes,
went through,
definitely. Ah,
because.
and say that okay, these are
Okay.
five of them, okay, which I felt.
Hmm.
Sit with technical teams, sit with co-founders, talk to them and say, hey, do you think any of these can be tackled in next release? They'll say, okay, yeah, first, second, and third can be done. Fourth and fifth will
Hmm.
take some time, right?
Okay.
Then you know that now your next focus is that 1, 2, 3. Those are easily can be done. I
Hmm.
can do it and move on to the next fourth and fifth,
Okay.
right? You solve them and give it to them. Then you say that, okay, now we have solved these lower hanging fruits. There's a bigger problem, right? Our overall
Yeah.
journey is not tied up, right? It requires a lot of changes into the entire system. So put that
Hmm.
into the place and then you do it.
Okay, fine. So actually it was the assignment, so I can mention in assignment, because anyhow I can't contact just like with their team first of all. So that's why I just wanted to know. Like in assignment, I can assume the things what I'm going through, and they can, after they can go along and they can see how it is going.
Yeah, so in assignment, you can say that, okay, I have found two problems. There are five, these are
Mm-hmm.
five smaller problems, which you can solve immediately, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you
Yeah.
assume that the technical team will solve it. Okay.
Okay.
If it's an assignment, you can say that they will say, okay, how are we going to solve? Then I'll need your technical team's help to understand
Mm-hmm.
and solve it. But
Okay.
these are the problems from a user experience point of view, which I think can be easily tackled. And I've seen
Mm-hmm.
this I think these can be easily tackled. This is the bigger problem, which I think will help you enhance the user experience overall. So you can give two solutions as well.
Okay. Okay. Yes.
Thanks.
Just a small thing. Oh, sorry.
Sorry,
Uh,
we'll have to take
okay.
other questions because a
Okay.
lot
Okay.
of people are waiting to ask. You can always
Thank you,
connect
sir.
with him later. I'm so sorry to cut you off.
Yeah, you can
Mhm.
anyways. I'm there on ADPList. You can anyways connect with me later
Yes,
on
yes.
ADPList.
Thank you for your suggestions and all. Thank
Welcome,
you.
Thanks,
Josh. Yeah.
Rajiv.
I think Shibaram he's raising his hand from a long time. Go ahead, Shibaram.
Anushka, you can
Hello,
go
sir.
after that.
Hey, hi.
Actually, I have completed recently the course, and as a fresher, I have a question that I need to learn more and I need to practice more. So I'm thinking that how I'll start the practicing from where? Like, should I take the screens from Dribble and Behance and then I should redesign it, or as you said that I have to take projects, then where should I take project and how I'll know that this project is good or not? So I need some
Okay.
suggestion.
Yeah, it's a very common thing which everybody will face when they start, right? Where to start. That's all this is about. Like I said,
Yeah.
you have to focus on your strengths. What do you think your strengths are? Your strengths are in the graphics side of it or the process side of it, or you are good with wireframes, identifying problems? What are you good with? What do you enjoy? Let us say, let's not say good, right? Because that's always a question that what do you enjoy the most?
I'm enjoying more the UI part, to design
Fair
this
enough.
thing. So
Fair enough. So find those good UI screens, right? Learn more about the UI, the typography, what typography they use, what fonts they use, what is the color theory, what is the ergonomics when you hold the phone, or what is the ergonomics when you are on the screen, right? See how beautifully they place, what are the white spaces they use, what are the balance they use. Do all these things and make a nice UI screen and say that I'm going to apply for a visual design position. I'm not applying for the UX design position. I'm going to focus on the design systems, right? How the design systems are there. Since you are enjoying the UI part of it, right? Focus on the design systems, learn about design systems, right? Those would help you. That's where you start from. That's what your strong point is, or that's what you like to do, right? That won't bore you when you work on that.
okay.
Does that answer your question? Does it give you some guidance?
Yeah, actually, as I also want to learn the UX parts, minimum things like, so that's why I need to, where should I take the projects? As you said, my question is like,
Where do I take the project,
where
right?
should I start? Means how I'll take the project and what I should design and how I
Okay.
learn.
Understood.
The question is
Understood.
that,
So do you use some apps?
like,
Any app? You have a phone, right? You use an app.
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah. Which is the app you use the most?
Um, the most
Or
WhatsApp
any
and
app which you use regularly?
WhatsApp and Insta, like these things.
Insta. Okay, fine. Instagram. Any app, right?
Okay.
If redesign Instagram, see how can you make it better? Start with that.
Okay.
Your version of Instagram. There's no harm in doing that. But again, you have to have a rationale behind why are you changing Instagram? What is that user experience which you want to give? Right? Or what is that improvement you want to do in the interface? Let's say you feel that the font size is small.
Okay.
I'm making a font size, or I'm changing a font because that font had a legibility issue or a readability issue, right?
Okay.
This font does not have those issues.
Okay.
Do all those things, right? So as long as you have a reasoning, nobody will say no. Then you can redesign Google as well,
Okay.
right? But you have to have a rationale or a purpose behind why I am doing what I'm doing.
Okay.
You can pick up any application.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much, sir.
Thanks, Subharam.
Yeah, hi, sir.
Yeah, Anushka, go ahead.
Yeah, so my question is like, I'm right now working in a digital agency, so I don't have a design lead. Okay, so I feel, and also while working on different projects, so in design like digital agency, you will be shifting to projects, right? So it will be a fast delivery for the product. So I sometimes feel that the process, I'm stuck in the learning process. Okay, and I want to know that take from you. Like, is it like part of the journey? Like how you said, it is a long journey. and also I wanted to ask, like, is that important, to have a design lead, or I can just learn from the experience? Because I'm thinking of switching. Is it a point to, to switch because of the design lead part?
See, it's a very common question. Yesterday, I was talking to a friend, and his mentee also asked the same question. Same question. Okay, there's nothing different. He's like, I don't have a lead in the company. I'm directly working with somebody who is a co-founder or something, right? I feel clueless. Okay, there are two things over there. One is you can be the lead now. That's a position. You take a lead. You set up the practice over there, right? And you become a lead. Take responsibilities. That's one way to look at it. Another way to look at it is get a mentor from outside who can mentor you in general, saying that, okay, this is how you can go about it. Okay, or you with whom you can discuss. Yes, changing a job is always a option, right? That, okay, I change a job and I'll get a design lead and I'll grow. But it's ultimately your decision that are you enjoying what you're doing right now? You're like, yeah, I'm enjoying that. The only thing I'm missing is I don't have a leadership from a design point of view, or I'm not going in this field in design, right? Then get a mentor who can help you with that, the way you want to grow. So basically fill that gaps. And then you say that, okay, how do I become a lead in that company? Because when there's no lead, there's an opportunity to you becoming a lead, no?
Yeah, correct.
How do you develop that personality? That's definitely a growth, right?
Okay.
So that's how a lot of people start with a startup, right? At a very young age, they become like a design head or a design lead or a chief design officer. That's what they do. They take the responsibility of those people, like, when the chance comes, right? So that's what it is.
And also I wanted to ask, like, I wanted to go for a course like HFI. So is it like, I've heard like people say that it is better to have it in, after 1 year or 2 years, or is it fine? Like, I've just started my journey, like it's been 8 months. So is it fine to continue with that kind of course?
You can, there's no harm in learning, right? Everybody has their experience and they speak from their experience. I think it's okay to start at any point of time, as long as you are comfortable to start.
Okay, thank you so much.
You have a time to dedicate to it. That's it.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks. I think we can take the last question from Vivek, and then we can wrap up the session.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Like, my question is it we get more exposure working in design companies like Lollipop, NetDrama, and many more compared to non-design companies? Non-design, yeah.
What do you mean by non-design companies?
So like design companies and Lollipop and all the stuff, where we get more exposure, compared to other companies. Like, I'm asking.
Talking about design agencies versus a
product company. Agencies. Okay. It again goes back to the question which somebody asked earlier, right? Whether you stick to one product or you stick to multiple products, right? The design agencies give you different exposures. So there is no positive or negative, I would say. Both have their advantages. Design agencies give you exposure to more fields, and in a very short span of time, it's very fast paced. So you learn to react very fast. There are a lot many people in doing a lot different projects, right? So you don't only learn about one particular thing, but you learn about multiple things as well in companies like Lollipop, Moonraft, NetDrama, etc. Right? But when you go to a product company, they have set way of working. So you fit into that way. If you like that, you go a long way in that company, right? And then similar companies you shift, and then you gain your knowledge. So it's up to you that how you want to go. If you like a very fast-paced work, then companies like Lollipop, Moonraft will be good for you. If you go for Microsoft and all, it's a little slow paced because they have their own development cycle, etc. And then they work in a certain way, right? But over there, you go much more deeper, right?
Yes.
You will play with one drop down maybe for 2 days. Over here, you take a decision, you move on, because you have to. It's very much fast, and both of them are right at that place. The design companies are more iterative. They will say, okay, let's do it fast and then test it and let's again do it. Right? Product companies will do even more very small tests. The design companies will do a larger tests.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah, Vikram has a question, and then there are a lot of questions in the chat.
Yeah, there are quite a few, I think, which we're not able to cover. We've almost come to the end. We have less than 5 minutes. So if you want to pick out questions from the chat, you can do that, Konark.
Let Vikram ask the question, and then we'll take a couple of questions from the chat, and I'll try to answer it in 5 minutes. Vikram, go ahead.
Thank you. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Hi. I have a very simple question. I don't know how to phrase it. The thing is, if we find any problems or missing features in any products, like any digital products, is it okay to put it in the portfolio? Like, for example, we have I have a lot of other friends in other countries which we can't communicate directly. So if we want to put any automatic language translator in the WhatsApp app or any other messaging app, can we do that only features thing? Can we put that feature development into the portfolio?
You can put that feature development into the portfolio, okay, as long as you are able to explain why that feature exists, right? And how that feature enhances the user experience, right? The thing which I told you about that earlier about that new loan in that country, right? That was a small feature, right? It was just 3-4 pages which I added into that entire product, right? But I am able to tell that because it has a much more impact. If you are able to tell that, then it's well enough.
Yeah, if there is a particular reason for any apps kind of stuff.
Sorry?
Yeah, it's
there
fine.
has to be a reason for that feature.
got it.
Otherwise, why would that feature will be included? Right? You will say that, okay,
got it.
When this thing started, I was not able to let's say it's a food delivery app, right? And you say, okay, when earlier there was people will just say that, okay, the food is on the way, the person is on the gate. I was not able to track his live location, right, where exactly that person is. Now they added a feature of map where I can see. So that made a huge difference. And if you have designed that feature, say that, this was the problem. I added this feature, the problem got solved.
Thank you. Yeah.
A lot of good questions. I don't know what to pick up.
Try seeing some as well. You are again about generalization and specialization. I think we've covered that before. Shika has asked, I'm a content writer and I want to transition to UI UX writer. Is there a right track forward that I should pursue or some specific skills that I should build on?
Okay, that's a very good question. I think I can tell that. So, Shikha, you are a content writer, okay? Now, UX writing is a skill, okay? First of all, if you want to transition, right, your strength is writing, okay?
Yeah.
Look for a job where you can actually do a UX writing, where you sit with the UX designer, understand what they're trying to communicate, pick up the right words and communicate to the user. There are very few UX writers in the industry, okay? And if you go and do a simple LinkedIn search, you will easily find some of the jobs and then you can apply for that, okay? And then once you talk to them, after a couple of interviews, you realize that kind of the content they need and all those things. There are some, you will have a reference online as well. So you can start from there, right? And once you are there as a UX writer, you will meet a lot of UX designers, you will know how they work and everything. And then you pick up your track. And parallelly, if you want to do some mentoring sessions, you want to try your hands on the proper process, you can start that parallelly. But at least you know how things in industry works. You can bring it to your portfolio while working as well. So you are surrounded with that environment that provides you that platform as well. So for you, the first thing is to find a UX writing job. If you could, correct that, it would be really smooth transition for you.
Okay, all right. And also, in addition to that, like, is there something in particular, like I asked in the question, that I should maybe focus on some particular courses that emphasize on UX writing? Because UI writing would be concise, and what I do right now is, article writing for Philips, and those are content heavy articles on their websites, etc. UI writing, I assume, would be concise and very to the point, crisp.
It depends. It depends what the message they want to do, right? See, it could be sometimes, it could be long paragraphs as well, right? It is not that it is always concise. Nothing is coming on top of my mind, but let's say if you are explaining a feature, new feature released, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a very complex feature, but you have to concise it like in a single paragraph. Okay.
Yeah.
Could be done, right? But comparatively, it's longer. It's not that one liner or two liner. It's still longer.
Yeah.
It's all contextual.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you for your time.
You guys will hear this word context from me a lot, because and everything you do in design, it's all in the context of something or the other things, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what it is. So context is the key, right? You have the right context, you can solve it easily. Your problem gets solved if you have a right context.
Thank you.
Thanks, Shikha.
I think
Depakshi has a question where she's asking, apart from XD and Figma, certain job requirements have Illustrator and Photoshop. How to go about learning these tools?
There are a lot of courses online, right? Like on YouTube and all. Just pick it up. Yeah, some companies may require, because they will have the illustration in their applications, and every application, all right, where you need to work on Illustrator, or they are using photos in there. So let's say there are a lot of. So let's take Swiggy's example, right? Swiggy has a lot of food photos, so they will require you to have certain knowledge of Photoshop to cut the photos, crop the photos, etc. Right? They also have illustrations for those. In the new app, they have those illustrations for a lot of these things. Or Uber has the illustration. Like, let's take a global example, like Uber. Uber have a lot of illustrations, right? They will require it. So you just go online. These are old software. There are n number of videos online, right? Again, take something which you want to make it and try to make it. As in, like, okay, somebody has done this using Photoshop. I'm going to first make that, and then slowly take a complex piece. First, start with a square. How to make a square. Then go and make the entire design. Right? First, understand what it can do. So there are step-by-step things which people will teach online. Right? That's the only way to learn softwares. Any tool. Understand how the interface is, what all tool does, and then just execute what you want out of it.
Yeah, but I also want to mention that mostly UI UX jobs wouldn't require you to know Photoshop or Illustrator. It's just it depends on the company. So
company to company. Most of them will now on Figma, XD, Sketch, and they may require InVision, Azure. InVision job, anyways, it's not a tool. It's just for the prototyping, but it's again a prototyping tool. So you need to know how to connect and all those things. But some of them require Azure. I don't know how many of you have seen the Azure. It's a tool for the wireframing, and it gives you an HTML output out of that, right? It's very good for user testing and all. Azure, if you could do, right, it actually allows real-time interaction. You can do calculations. If you are a developer, Azure is very easy to learn. If you are not a developer and if you're coming from a design background or something else, Azure will be a little hard, but they are making it more friendlier. But yeah, Azure is also a good tool to learn. Yeah. But it's just the finish is not that great as this one. What do you call your Figma or XD, right? The finish is better than Figma and XD.
Yeah. I think we've slightly overshot on the time. So
yeah.
I'm so sorry about the other questions. You guys can reach out on LinkedIn, I'm sure, and ADPList as well.
Yeah, I'm
And
just
ask
pasting, I
them.
think somewhere my LinkedIn and ADPList both has posted by session. That's okay.
We'll be sending an email with the recording, so we can include the link there as well.
Yeah. So I've anyways pasted the link over there for everybody.
Awesome.
So feel free to reach out and we'll be happy to discuss things.
Yeah. Thanks,
Hope this
Konark,
helped
for this
everybody or
session.
yeah.
Sorry, you were saying.
No, I was thinking, hope this session helped everyone.
Oh, absolutely. I'm sure we'll hear a lot of feedback as well. And this was
Would love
really
to have
fun.
you.
Yeah. And thanks everyone else for attending. You can connect with him like we've said, and feel free to reach out and tell us what you want for the upcoming sessions. A lot of you reached out as well, and we've taken a note of all the topics you all want us to cover. And DesignBoat also has demo classes. So if you're not sure what UI UX is, there are demo classes on Sundays. Attend that and you'll get a fairer idea about the same. And that's it for today. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks.
So the